So I wanted to take the knee for 8 minutes and 46 seconds this morning, along with so many other people in the country who've been doing that, to make it clear that I stand with others, and not only against the brutality of the killing of George Floyd in America, but also because of the racism that so many people experience in this country, in the UK. And it's often been said that that is a subtle form of racism here, that it applies in every institution, including the church. But until people like me, in particular white people, are prepared to stand up and be counted, then very little is going to change. I think this has come at a very particular moment, and there are all sorts of factors why so many people have been deeply, deeply moved by the death of George Floyd. And I think here in Leicester, because of the diversity of our communities here, we've long prided ourselves on the good relationships between those communities. But it is still true that racism exists in our city, and it is part of different institutions here, including the church. And we need to stand up and to start speaking openly about that, in particular listening to the experiences of Black and Asian and minority ethnic people, so that we can start to work together to make a difference.
When people saw the picture of George Floyd being killed in the streets of Minneapolis, for many, especially for those of us of Black ethnicity, it resonated with a vibrancy that reminded us of some of the struggles that we face on a daily basis. And I think for many others, it's just the coolness and the cold-bloodedness in which he was murdered that reminded everyone that there's something about fractured and lost humanity if we remain silent. Well, how do we improve equality in this country? I think partly is to highlight and name those areas where inequality is rife. And once we've named them and identified them, set up processes and a pathway whereby we try to create opportunities for those who have been historically excluded and marginalized, to have a place around the table, but also to have a voice around the table and make sure that in the process of bringing about change, every voice counts.
There are no easy or straightforward steps. I think, we've seen for years talk of this, and there has been some legislation to improve the situation. But I think we need more. The Public Health England report recently showed that disparities exist, and in a sense COVID has laid those bare. We now need clear guidance and steps from the government about what's going to be done to address those disparities, and that's something that I've called for in a statement earlier this week. There is a tough balance here, and I understand concerns about people's health and safety and therefore restrictions on gatherings, but equally I understand the passion and the anger and the need to protest. I have a great deal of sympathy for that, but in the end change will come when we all change our behaviours and attitudes and we look at our structures and our organisations. So I hope that these protests, whatever form they've taken, will lead to that kind of change.